Let's start with something closer to a real production scenario. Imagine you're working with a PostgreSQL database running on AWS RDS, powering a SaaS application with customers, subscriptions, invoices, payments, usage events, support tickets, and audit logs. In this video, I'm going to walk through how I manage that kind of setup using dbForge Studio for PostgreSQL by dbForge. We'll explore the schema, build useful queries, try out the AI assistant, optimize its slow dashboard query, and compare staging versus production changes before deployment. So instead of a simplified example, we're going to focus on a workflow that actually reflects day-to-day database engineering. Here I'm inside dbForge Studio for PostgreSQL. The dbForge Edge is the largest suite covering multiple database systems, but for this video, I'm focusing on PostgreSQL. The database is already deployed on AWS RDS, and I prepared two environments right here, SaaS prod and SaaS staging. So this is the SaaS prod, which represents the production environment, and we have staging one. This represents upcoming changes before the release. And yes, I already did the boring setup part before recording because nobody wants to watch the security group rules for 10 minutes. Our database is based on a SaaS platform. We have tenants, which are customer companies. Each tenant has users, subscriptions, invoices, payments, usage events, support tickets, and audit logs. For instance, a backend developer might care about query performance, a DBA might care about schema changes and indexes, a data analyst might care about revenue, churn, and usage trends. So this schema lets us test dbForge from multiple realistic angles. Well, as I already said, this database is not local. It's running on AWS RDS for PostgreSQL. The practical point here is that dbForge is connecting to a real cloud database endpoint, not a local sandbox. For instance, we can go to Database Explorer right here and click this and open the context menu, and you can modify the connection. And this is the host, the port, the user, and password, and you can select the database, or you will be able to see all the databases from this connection. So also for proper setup, I'm using SSL, and the security group only allows my public IP address on PostgreSQL port 5432. Basically, it follows the same kind of connection pattern you would expect from a cloud database workflow. Moreover, we have really good documentations about dbForge Studio itself. For instance, right here. And you can see that we have lots of information about how to properly connect to various services, various database platforms, for instance. Let's start with something every SaaS company cares about, the revenue. Imagine a product manager asks, can we see monthly revenue by plan for the last few months? And this is where normal workflow starts. You're going to open the SQL Editor, you're going to write or load the query, run it, and inspect the results. For instance, I'm going to go with this SaaS production connection right here. And this is the database that we have. And we have 9 tables. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file based on this SaaS production database right here, new SQL. And here I'm going to paste my SQL command. And let's execute it together. There we go. It was really fast. So now we can see that we have a clean breakdown by months and subscription plan. For a data analyst, this is already useful. For a developer, the nice part is that the SQL Editor, results, grid, object browser, and schema context are all in one place. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is the visual query builder. For instance, not everyone wants to write every join manually right here in the editor. One of the usable PostgreSQL improvements in dbForge 2026 is that the visual query builder. So let's build a similar reporting query in a visual way. First, let's close this or save it. And here we have query builder. I'm going to click this. Then we need the company name. Just drag and drop the tenants table. Then we can select the company name field from tenants table. Then we can also drop the plans and select name. Then we have subscriptions. And you will be able to see the condition like this. And select the status. The last one is the invoices. And here you can also select amount and status. Now we need to create a filter. To apply a filter, you can select Where tab and select the table, then the field, in our case invoices table, and status field. For the value, you can type it yourself or select a value or select a field from the table. In our case, we're just going to put paid. You can see the selection right here. You can also see the joins, and you can order them by group. All right, now we can execute this command. And there we go. So you'll be able to see the active and paid companies and their type of the subscription. If you select text, you'll see the generated SQL commands. Now let's get to the part everyone is probably curious about, the AI assistant. The interesting question is not, can AI write SQL? Of course it can. The real question is, can it help inside an actual database workflow? Like with a schema context, existing indexes, real joins, and queries that need review. Now let's start with a simple prompt. As you can see, our AI assistant chat is ready to use. And there goes the prompt. Generate a PostgreSQL query that shows monthly recurring revenue by plan for the last 6 months, grouped by months and plan name. Use invoices, subscriptions, plans, and tenants table. And we can also select this button for searching the web if you need, or just attach a database. In our case, I'll be selecting SaaS production. And this will fetch the information about this connection, this database. You can see metadata is loaded and ready to go. And let me click this. Now this will take a few seconds to generate the SQL command. Okay, there we go. Now I would not blindly run this just because AI generated it. You can check the joins, checking the date filter. You can check the grouping and make sure it matches the business question. And here you can copy this and then create a new SQL file, paste it right here, and try this command. Here it goes. We can see the monthly recurring revenue. Now let's close this window. Then select SQL Editor right here. And this is my command for generating data for the dashboard. Well, in the dashboard, you must be able to see lots of data at once. But this is not optimized SQL command. What we're going to do, we will use AI assistant to improve it right here. Rather than asking random AI assistant, this right here knows about the schema of the whole database and gives a much more accurate improvements. Here we can see the upgraded SQL commands, and there should be the concerns about the current SQL command. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that we have some issues with our current SQL command and optimization suggestions. There we go. And we can copy it or just open this in a new editor window. Now let me save these files. Now before testing both commands, let's first refresh our connection. So when we run our query, this will execute much more faster. Here, I'm going to copy the optimize SQL command and put right here. Then we can execute it and see how this will run. There we go. You can see the total cost, time it takes, and everything. So there is this select, sorting, and one nested loop. Subquery scans, aggregation, another sorting. You can see all the operations right here. If you click top operations, you can see the cost for each operation and another information with the plain XML. So you can see the tree right here. This is much more clean. And now what we're going to do, we're going to select the unoptimized SQL commands. Just copy them and paste it right here. I'm going to turn this into a comment. There we go. And now we can execute the unoptimized version. Here now we can see the unoptimized command cost. It shows that it takes more cost to process this command because it has more operations. And you can easily see right here that we have a few nested loops, which is bad sign. If you just hover over these icons right here, you'll see much more detailed information for each operation. Now let me make this one smaller, and you can see the total cost it takes and time it takes to execute these two different commands, but they provide the same result. Now let's do one more refresh on these two connections. There we go. Now here you can select database sync and a new schema comparison. For the source, we'll be using SaaS staging and SaaS staging database, and this is going to be SaaS prod connection and production database. Then click next. So you can select some options right here. Next, and schema mapping, and final one, table mapping. So it will populate everything first. Then we can start comparison process. We're gonna wait for a few seconds, and there we go. We have a few differences here. Moreover, it will give us a script where we can execute it to apply changes from source database to the target database. Here, let's make another refresh on these two connections. SaaS staging, refresh, and SaaS production. Okay, now click this, and you can select the output options right here. I'm going to select script in the internal editor. Next, you can see the dependencies. We don't have additional scripts, and you're going to see the summary, like what's going to happen. And at the end, just click synchronize. Okay, now we have the file. We can execute it. Okay, it took 9 seconds. And if you try to make another new comparison between this SaaS staging and SaaS production databases, we must guarantee consistency without any differences this time. Since there was a change, it will take a few seconds. Okay, yeah, there is no difference at all this time, which is a good sign. But in a real world case, of course, you need to first review the databases thoroughly. And that actually brings me to the bigger point of this video. Good database engineering is not just about running queries. It's about having a clean workflow, inspecting data, understanding schema, optimizing carefully, and review changes before they reach production. That's where dbForge Studio felt useful. It puts the editor, visual tools, AI assistant, and a schema comparison into one practical workflow. If you want to check it out, I will leave the dbForge Studio link in the description. Thanks for watching, and let me know, would you use AI inside your database tool?